Hail, fellows, and welcome to Pen Night Radio, where we slay our personal demons and arm ourselves to write our best content. I am your host, PK, unofficially knighted by a fictional character, which means you do not have to call me sir. For our purposes, Alec or PK will do just fine. Let's dive into why we're here. Let's take our pens and slay the demons that are holding us back today. Then we write. And we are back. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful Saturday morning. I hope that your week was fulfilling to you. I hope that whatever demons you brought home from the perils of your profession, you have been able to put them to rest and find some much needed solace this Saturday. And if you're at work right now, well, bless you. And I hope that things are going well. If you've stolen a moment to listen to this podcast, then welcome. We are going to help you with your writing goals. Writing is tough when you have a career, and almost all of us have careers. Even if that career is, say, an editor's brand where you do a lot of work at home, it still becomes a time commitment. If you inject higher education, marriage, family planning, home owning, any kind of side business, any amount of hours that you have to put in for your profession, the odds of writing might seem astronomically unlikely to ever happen ever. And to make matters worse, almost every job that I can think of involves homework. So you will be working, being confronted with whatever you're confronted with, and you will also be working at home. Teachers, for instance, have to work outside their designated hours in order to prepare for upcoming lessons, grade previous lessons, evaluate themselves, subject themselves to outside evaluations, call parents, do all kinds of crazy stuff anytime anything unexpected happens or any kind of incident happens in the school that you were in any way near. I mean, folks, it's a mess. We all know what our careers demand. It's simply a mess sometimes to go to work and come home and expect to get anything done, especially if you have a do or do not, there is no try attitude towards writing, which oftentimes I do. It's tripped me up many a time in my life. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, folks, is it's a lot. And if you work, you are probably in the exact same situation that I am in, having just started school and continuing in my marriage and in my career where I am a teacher. If your question then is, how do I write and balance the career that I have? Well, Pen Night Radio's got you covered. I want to preface this by saying that, it's been almost a lesser discussed subject over the years. Like I feel like the vast majority of writing chats that I have had have dealt with writing through a lack of motivation for one reason or another. I remember back when, before Pen Night Radio, before Dropline even, when I just called my live streams, Talk About It Tuesday, Tom and I came on, my friend Tom, and we talked about creating art in times of depression, when you're suffering with depression. And I feel like in a similar vein, a lot of our conversations have been about unraveling the demons that are in our minds, that are tangling us up, ensnaring us, and stopping us from doing the things we want to do. I've talked many times about how I've wanted to encourage people with this podcast who have great ideas but are talking themselves out of writing their books. That's what this podcast is for. So it's been a lesser topic when you are motivated and you do write a lot and you do work a lot and you have that drive, that dedication, that passion, and you are just shelling stuff out one year. If you were one such person, during the lockdown that we all experienced, and all of a sudden, your work was just booming with productivity. But all of a sudden, work becomes more demanding, life becomes more demanding. We just really haven't talked much about it over the years. And I think that it's high time we really just broke it down into a couple of steps. What do you do when you intend to get a book done, but you simply have no time to do it? What do you do when you've worked all day, you commute home, you got caught in traffic, you had to stop for gas, you had to stop at the grocery store, you barely made it home in time to be there for dinner, but right after that, you have to go to your college class. Um, Thankfully on Zoom. Sometimes in this scenario, you might be going to the campus before your commute home and you don't actually walk through the door until close to midnight. I did that. And on the way home, I kind of wondered to myself, so when the heck am I actually going to write this year? Is that a myth? Is that a thing that we just talk about in fairy tales? But it is possible, folks. I found that myself and some other people, including our guest today, who I'm very excited to introduce you all to, um, have managed to create some of our best work in times where we're extremely busy. So, how do we take what we already know from Pen Night Radio, goal setting, um, artistic integrity, routines, challenges, word count challenges? How do we take all of that and apply it in times of hardship? Number one, adjust your goals. So, we've talked a lot about goal setting on the podcast. We set goals for our word counts, our content, our social media, our marketing, and more. We've talked about how your goal should be tailored to what you know you can accomplish before you take the added step of pushing beyond that. Things like the 365-day challenge are very helpful tools in accomplishing this sort of thing. But what about when all of your mental energy is gone? I mean, goal adjustment is a step farther than goal setting. It involves taking the goals you have already set and allowing them to be revised. For example, I was writing 2,200 words per day, but I wasn't just writing endless words or random words. I had an overall goal. The goal was to reach 800,000 words within 12 months because that equated in my prognostication to about 5 or so books that were books I had already started. So I wanted to make sure that those were done. So I set a word count goal and I broke it down into 2,200 a day. But the thing is, if I were in college last year, which for the most part I wasn't, not until the second half of the year, I would have had to do the following. You know, I would have had to knock that 2,200 down to 1,100, or if necessary, 1,100 down to 500. 500 words in a day, 300 words in a day, 100 words in a day. Again, it's not about the number. It's not 500 words of nonsense. If you can concoct a short scene, a mere dialogue exchange, something with a beginning, middle, and end, something that hooks you in, that pushes you a little farther towards the completion of that manuscript, then that was enough work on a busy day. If you're doing 4 college classes at a time, if you are in work from 9 to 5 and you are in school from 7 to did I say 5 to 9? I meant 9 to 5. I'm so sorry. If you are at work from 9 to 5 and then you are in school from 7 to 9 and bedtime's at 10 because you got to be up early, then you might only have 10 minutes available to write. So use it. Don't worry if you can't write 2,200 words in a day. Write 100 words, write 200 words, just write a page, write something down that gets you further along in that manuscript towards your goals. Being able to take the goals you already have and adjust them to accommodate the changes in your schedule and the unforeseen challenges at work is a must. I mean, I am an advocate of sometimes doing nothing. Sometimes you got to come home and let your mind rest. You got to veg out, read a book, play a video game, watch a show, do something mindless. Nobody can be on all the time. So I am an advocate of that. And if you're doing that during a writing challenge, it is okay if you're simply burned out. But if you do have the energy to write, if you have the energy and the desire, I personally find that 300 words, if that's all you can get at the end of a busy day like that, is still worth it. It gives me something to look forward to in my day after just working and going to school and working and going to school and doing chores and running errands. Um, you know, I never want to say that was how I spent my day. I want to say I wrote something today. I went to that world. I spent some time with that character. I came up with something cool. I want to be able to say that if I can. And it also gives you something to not only look forward to, but look back on. You know what I mean? It allows you to feel like the work days were not a waste. But if you're harping on the same goal, no matter what, come hell or high water, I'm going to write 2,200 words a day between 9 and 11 p.m. and not get enough sleep. Well, I don't always recommend that. And I got to tell you, being able to adjust your goals can really do wonders for your creativity. Number two, develop a routine. If you are managing a career, a passion project, a family, and education, almost all of which contain the added pressure of dealing with people's personalities, then I got news for you. Staying up all night playing video games is not going to help you unless you're getting paid for it. In tight times, routines are everything. A solid sleep schedule, a strict diet, full of the things you need and devoid of the things that you don't need, the things that will sabotage you. Like if you're me, you might have had a cappuccino at 4 p.m. on a Sunday and you couldn't sleep before going to school on Monday. I don't know what demon possessed me that day that made me think that was a good idea, but it happened. And I can tell you, developing a strict routine that you really make best efforts to never deviate from in times where your responsibilities are piling up, it really does make all the difference. Don't discount things like proper sleep, proper diet, proper living habits. Like I put down my phone. I almost said cell phone. We don't have cell phones anymore. I put down my phone at 9 p.m. sharp every night, an hour before I start getting ready for bed, just as a way of kind of withdrawing from social media and dopamine and all that, so that I can get into a mindset that I know I'm not going to have disrupted sleep. And it is essential for productivity at work. And it is also even more essential if you're going to be productive at work and you are going to um, uh, write your passion projects after that time. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a minute. Now, it's possible that, you have families to take care of and there's an emergency every day. You have very irregular hours and you never know when you're getting to bed because, you could be taking care of a sick family, or you could be the father of an infant without, obviously a set sleep schedule yet, or at least an undisturbed sleep schedule. So I get it. Some of what I'm saying might be more difficult to apply if you're a parent. But I have heard from other parents that to the best of your ability, adjusting goals and having a routine set and healthy living habits and dieting for yourself really keeps you going during all that. Number three, save your creative energy. Now, when I say save your creative energy, what I'm trying to say is, I just really want to thank my team at One True Promotion, Andrew Best and Brielle Elise. Both of them are writers. Both of them are multi-talented. Both of them are marketing right now as we speak. Andrew runs and manages marketing for One True Promotion and is a freelance literary agent. Brielle is currently undergoing the 365-day challenge on her social media, Brielle Elise. I recommend you check that out. But I'm just so grateful for the two of them that they understand, like when I have goals and I really want to accomplish things in my off hours and I just don't, because like I literally know what I want to write in the chapter, but when I get there, I just stare at the screen and I don't do anything. I really feel bad about it. I feel like scolding myself, like, if you'll permit some, um, ad hominem, you idiot, you moron, you absolute doofus. Like, why? You're here, you have the time, this is time you're not going to get back. Why are you staring at a blank screen? What is wrong with you? You're wasting time. See, this is how I talk to myself inside of my head, and it leads to an unhealthy cycle of feeling like you just have to work all the time. You can't rest. Rest is bad. If you worked for like 11 hours and you rest for an hour, you're lazy. Why did you waste that last hour? It really does become very destructive after a while. And it all comes back to the way you talk to yourself. But I am so grateful for Brielle and Andrew for not being that way. Anytime I've ever gone to the team and I've said, listen, I had no energy, they understand. They're like, rest your creative energy, do something mindless, do something absolutely useless, like watching, I might ruffle some feathers here, watching reality TV, watching videos on YouTube, walking around in circles, going for a bike ride, gardening. So yeah, it really helps to have a community of people that support the fact that writing has a cost. You know what I mean? It costs energy. There's a transaction involved. You only have so much mental energy in a day, and creative energy, creativity, ideas, words are very much a part of that. You can run out of creative energy to the point that it's like a depleted battery and it has to build back up. So resting is vital. Resting is vital when you know what you want to say, but the words just aren't coming to you. They're like running backwards in your head. You have to be willing to just recognize, today I need to rest. I need to rest. I need to build back up. I need to assimilate more focus before I go back to the keyboard. So I'm very grateful to the team for all understanding that and always supporting me on that. And I'm very grateful to my wife for understanding every aspect of this, the passion to spend so much time at the keyboard, the fact that I just need to rest some time and I'm kind of lazing around the house in various different ways. I mean, folks, you might be doing this on your own. You might not have a team. You might not have a spouse. You might not have a best friend who's into this with you, but so if that is the case, I want you to, come to Pen Night Radio and let me tell you, if you are working a lot, you need to save your creative energy just as much as your physical energy. Knight's Pen Night Radio is dedicated to bringing you content that is both entertaining and educational. We share personal and business experience to help you figure out how to tackle the most puzzling challenges in your craft, slay the demons that are holding you down, and turn that blank page into a full page. We'll be back shortly with a special interview that tackles this very same topic from an absolute pro, and I am very, very, very excited. So I hope you will stick around for the second segment of, you guessed it, Drop a Line.
She was my queen, a castle in the mountaintops, rivers and